Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to the first Dpac meeting for January 2019. This morning is your Dpac meeting, and we are going to have a presentation by our own Ms. Tanya Wilson, Senior Director of Special Content and Area Support. And we also have with us today Ms. Gloria Vega, which is our, I don't see her, is she in?
Gloria?
She's right there. Oh, no. Gloria Vega. You're Vega, but no, we're looking for our, the FOC.
She's in and out.
She's in and out? Okay, all right, so I want to recognize our FOC. And also, I would like to have the opening by Ms. Gloria Martinez Vega as the principal of this school, this location, Dpac School. Thank you.
Thank you so much and welcome. We're humbled to have you in our first Dpac meeting for January of the year 2019. I apologize for the small space, but we have wonderful things that are going on in the building. We have our Citizens Bank, which is the Junior Achievement Citizens Bank. We have over 60 volunteers from citizens that are here to take over instruction in support with the teacher. It is something that we have been practicing for 4 years. This year it's only 60, last year was 84. So we have that going on, and we also have a workshop for iReady for our teachers. So the library and the Dpac room was already taken, but we welcome you to our family operational coordinators room. And I'm pretty sure that we can handle it here. So welcome so much, welcome, and again, we are humbled to have you. And I will leave you with Ms. Wilson again.
Thank you once again for allowing us to use your facility, and you're always open to us, and we thank you.
Thank you so much.
At this time, I would like to have Ms. Tanya Wilson to come up and begin the process of her presentation.
All right, thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Before I actually get started, I have to say that on the slide here, I'm nothing without my team. So today, not only myself is here to present, but I brought the team with me. So I want to introduce my team because it's the best team. I've been here for a good while in Camden, but I really enjoy working with my team, and we are here to present today. So without further ado.
Good morning, I'm Lynn Price Jones.
What do you do, Lynn?
Oh, I'm sorry. So I wear many different hats, but I am the senior lead educator of math and science for grades K through 8.
Right, and
Good morning, everyone. I know many of you, well, some of you, and others. My name is Corinne Mafrina. I'm the senior lead educator of literacy and social studies grades K to 8. Nice to see you all.
all right, thank you. And before we get started, I would like to share that I was asked to present based on technology, okay? And my umbrella has changed within the last 2 years, and so not only do I support technology, but I also support all special area teachers. So art, music, phys ed, and computer teachers is actually my umbrella now, which looks a little different, still learning and growing in that area. But just to share that with you, because some of the presentation you'll see that it'll connect in those areas, okay? During this time, we have a couple of people that will be presenting. Please feel free to ask questions, okay? If we can't answer them, we'll get back to you. But all this information, we hope will be something that will help support you and or your parents when you go back to your buildings, okay? Okay, so we're gonna be covering these topics, and there's a lot here, but you have 90 minutes or so we should be fine. The first area I'd like to share with you is a program that came to our district last year. It was a partnership with JEVS, and in which JEVS actually gained or was awarded a grant, federal grant. And with this federal grant, we received tech serves, which are AmeriCorps, scholars, or volunteers I should say, and we have been excited because last year we had 5, this year we have another 5, and we're just very excited about what has developed in regards to the program. I don't want to steal the thunder because I actually brought a person who was here last year and is here again this year to actually present and share with you. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Amber Williams. Amber, come on up.
Hello. I have some flyers and some information if you guys want to pass it around and look at it. So like Tanya said, I was a scholar last year, and this year, a part of our program is to bring back scholars from the last cohort to manage the team. So this year, I'm a team lead, and essentially what that means is not only do I go out to the schools and provide service that way, but I also get the experience of being a manager and learning the background side of what we do. So I do office work, and then I also go out in schools and help. Specifically, what we do as Tech Serve Scholars is a 2-part system. So as a scholar, I get training on IT, science, engineering, math, technology. I'm in that space where I'm right out of high school, not right out of high school, but I'm out of high school and I don't know what I want to do in college. And specifically me, I don't want to spend money on something where I don't know. So the program not only gives me the opportunity to explore my interests for the year that I'm in the program, but also after the program, I get a grant so that I can put it towards school, and any state school matches my Siegel grant. So I get $5,000, but since I've been in the program twice, I get 11. So any school that I go to will match that grant as long as it's a state school. And the second part of the program is the things that we learn, we then go out into schools like this one and we teach your kids. So a lot of us have very specific interests and a lot of us vary because we're all different people. My interest is strictly figuring out how to take the big stuff that people in these Fortune 500 companies are learning and making it in a way so that I can interest these kids and get them started on these things early so that when they get there, they don't feel left out. Because a lot of the times being in the schools in the city, there's a lot of things that are left out for the kids. And it's simply because the teachers don't have time to do it. Because they're working on making sure that they can pass these tests. So my interest is to add some extra support in there where needed. We also have people that are very interested in producing music, producing games. We have people that actually, do graphic design, and we have one guy that was from the cohort last year that actually works at the company now in IT. So we kind of vary what we do, but since we're one big happy family, we all make our own curriculums and then we pass them along. So even if I'm not interested in music, I can still go into a school and teach your kid music the way that another scholar would have done it. A big thing is we bring in some extra resources from outside programs. So code.org, Scratch, and then we do Google CS First. And these are all programs that are funded by outside sources. I have some information. And you can just pass that around. And it's curriculum that is built for us. So although we do learn and we create our own, we also use other things that are built by teachers that work with the curriculum that the kids are already learning. And this is a legitimate lesson plan book that we get from code.org when we do their training. And it gives us step-by-step directions. The lesson plans are given to us, and this is what we start with. So even in the beginning of year, because everybody comes as a blank slate to us, we have the information to teach the kids. There's never a point where we're confused. There's never a point where we have nothing to do. We also do hour of code at the schools, and that's a very small window of time. So when your kids are at lunch, after they're done eating, they'll come down to a coding club with us, and we'll do hour of code. And on code.org, hour of code has gone from 5 activities to more than 500. they have built a separate website just to house their hour food. So there is anything and everything that your kid wants to do in hour food, and that way they're learning JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and these are all things that are essential to not only building a website, but working in any type of IT field. These are languages that these kids have to learn if they want to be in this epicenter of technology. And we're getting to the point where most of our jobs are neck up jobs. So they're not doing any hard labor anymore. There's computers and machines that do that. What we're teaching the kids are how to control those computers and machines so that they will essentially have a thriving career path no matter where they go. Health, medicine, engineering, architecture, all of those things all have some sort of computer technology or engineering background. So we just do STEM education. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
How would a student into your program? Like not just you coming into the school teaching, but say that I was interested in, if I was a student and I was interested in being in the program you were in, how would they go about doing that?
Okay, so as me or, okay, so what we're doing this year is we're going to all of the high schools and we're going to be presenting our program to high school seniors, because not only do we want to hit the K to 8 and then 8 to 12, we want to make sure that even if we don't get you at 12th grade, we have an avenue for you to learn these things and explore. So we're expanding New Jersey and we're also expanding Philadelphia. So there's an option for all of those kids. There will be 10 scholars, not just in Camden, but Camden and Atlantic City. So there's an opportunity for any of those kids to be sent out and learn the same things that I'm learning. We also do STEM fairs. So we'll do something with the district because there are only 5 right now. So a way for us to kind of connect with other schools that we're not at is to do these STEM fairs and to offer these services to multiple schools. And then that way I can pass out my card. I'm always open for my emails. I thrive on getting as many kids as possible. I've set up things with like teachers where they have their kids and they want their kids involved in this. I'll set up classrooms online for their kids to be involved with this, because code.org does not need to be in your face. I can set your kid up with an account and manage their account from where I am on my computer. I can send them messages, I can tell them try this again, I can do any of that. I'll set up video, FaceTime chats with your kid. I'll set up times to do girls code, coded for kids, all of those separate things. They teach small classes and we're licensed to teach those classes. So I'll set those up in the city just so that your kid can come in and learn something from me. Anything that a parent would need, a teacher would need, a student would need, I'm good to go. I've never said no to helping kids. So if you call me and you say, hey, I've got 5 kids, I want to teach a class, is it possible for you to come on a Saturday? I'm all good for it. Especially because for this entire year, I've given my year of service to this program. So no matter what goes on during this year, I can do whatever it is that you want me to do, and I can still get my hours, I can still get my paycheck, nothing is affected. Yes.
So does this function more or less like a co-op in district? Because you're saying you're dealing with the seniors. So are there like going out on the field, or those, you know, for those who want to go into this particular field or career, talking about the IT
Not
career?
really.
So, what we are doing is introducing this to, our high schools and the seniors this year, so that if, in the event they wanna take this pathway, they can. It's not taking the path of the place of co-op. So this would be after high school,
Okay.
they would take on this because, with this program, it's, they have to do 17 hours of service, 1,700, I'm sorry, hours of service for the entire year. Good question.
Yeah. We also do kind of a mentoring program a little bit, not formally, but kind of informally. So last year at my school, there was one student that kind of particularly stood out in this IT field. and he was super knowledgeable. He was telling me things that I didn't even know. So for the entire school year, we had him come meet with us on a daily basis, and we would sit down and talk about different IT things, and we would essentially give him the same curriculum that we were learning, because the stuff that we were teaching just wasn't as advanced as he was. So I do personalize things, and I make sure that people are there. And now he unfortunately goes to a master's school instead of a public school, so I cannot in this same capacity work with him, but he has a robotics program at his school that he has me mentoring for. So I help out in any way possible, and that's being done on my own personal time because I can't do it officially because he's in a master's school. Any more questions? And if anybody else wants to see, I have actual visuals on the computer. I can show you sites and stuff.
All right, let's give Amber a hand. Oh.
Because we have some ladies here that don't speak English. I don't know if we can come to the side. I'll set here. We might have to switch up. I'm sorry, everyone.
Come sit here.
Who is this? Can I have this young lady come over here?
Yeah.
So that she can hear us from
She
this
can
side?
sit in my chair.
Aquí María. Aquí, mira ahí.
Vete por aquí.
Oh.
Yo le puedo dar un dato.
So everyone who needs translation will be over in that corner?
Yes.
Okay, good. Alright, so I do want to share some additional things about the tech serve. So last year when they came on board, and even meeting the group for the first time, and I had them introduce themselves because for the most part, all of them are from the city. And so that was exciting to me. And so as they're introducing themselves, and Amber in particular, she started to share who she was. And before she got like 2 sentences in to explaining who she was, I finished her story. And so she's looking at me like, but I recall Amber because when I taught when I was at summer school as a paraprofessional at the time, and Amber's brother was in our class, and Amber was just the baby in a stroller. And then on top of that, her mother cheered for Camden High School, which I attended, and she looked like her mini mom.
Right.
So it was just exciting to see Amber again in this life, okay? So last year, the Tech Serves serviced Yorkshire School as well as vets. They were partnered up, and they did everything, as Amber said, from going into the classrooms to support iReady, to support with NIT with inventorying the building, also to help out with training teachers on like little tidbit things that teachers may need, as well as conducting the clubs, okay? They were very instrumental in that. Towards the tail end of the year, we then began to put together a STEAM fair. And so with the STEAM fair, originally it was from middle school, and then as we were planning, we included 2nd through 5th grade. So all of the tech serves during that time frame, and it was 5 of them, they assisted with creating a codathon, okay? So a codathon that incorporated science, technology, engineering, and math, and they created the activities on their own. And I'm gonna jump to that just so you can see what went on during that time. So this was our planning at the district office at the time, and we were all there planning, and Dr. Fletcher at the time, she took a picture. And then from that point then, they put everything together. During that day at this STEAM fair, they created, for instance, a puzzle. And it was just basically a cereal box puzzle piece that was all cut up. And the task for the students were to take this puzzle piece and put it together, but on the opposite side. And so, believe it or not, you think, oh, well, that's easy. It wasn't easy, especially when you had unique cuts, you know, as far as the puzzle pieces were concerned. I made sure I cut those pieces myself. And so it was interesting just to see kids begin to think and use their thinking, okay, logical thinking. Also, too, we had math that was incorporated where they had to work as a team to solve a math problem, the equation. We also had an activity where they had to figure out how what was it that had to float inside the bottle?
Ketchup packet.
A ketchup packet float inside the bottle with a certain amount of water in it, and they had to follow these directions to actually have this go on. And in between each one of these activities, they had to go back to the computer and use Scratch to actually continue to code. And I think another activity that they had was they had to create a boat out of materials and have it float across water out of, recyclable materials, and it was very simplistic. So these were some of the things that they were very instrumental with doing, and I thank them. This year, we will be at Forest Hill, Forest Hill, Yorkshire, Cream School, and Vets again, okay? But we will touch at different points other schools as well, okay? So just want to share and thank Amber again for that, all right? Excuse me for getting you a little dizzy. Okay, so I'd like to now go back to, and just to share with Amber, once again, with the request for Tech Serves, if you have a child that's interested, please have them take advantage of it. And not only meeting our scholars here, but going over and seeing the scholars that were in Philadelphia, so it was 20 of them as a whole, and these are the scholars here, but seeing and hearing their stories. Some of them were single, they were parents trying to get through the program, but they made a way, and just hearing their stories of their struggle up until that point, and some of the things that they have done with Tech Serves, it's touching. It is touching, and it's good to see that we have our youth that are coming back into the buildings to share skill. It's important, especially for our girls who are interested or need to be interested in just understanding what coding is about in computer science, but just across the board, everyone. Yes? Age. So the age for them to actually be in the program is from 17 to 24 years of age, having a high school diploma or a GED, of course being a citizen, and during that time they have 1,700 hours of service that they have to do, and they kind of like gauge that time. In our buildings, they're here from like 8 to 12 o'clock. Okay, if it calls for it.
Leaving high school.
Exactly, okay. So, and they receive a stipend and so forth, as well as that credit or funding for them to continue their education afterwards. Okay. If you need more, what I will do is I'll share this information with Ms. Henson. Ms. Henson, if you'd like to share. Oh, you passed that? Okay, good, perfect. Okay, so it's on the slide. All right, now.
A quick question.
Yes.
So, how long does the district foresee using this program? You say it's already been in the district for a year?
Yeah, so we're going into our second year, but remember this is a federal grant.
Okay, federal
funding,
grant.
and so there's a certain amount of funds that have to be matched to keep them in. Our hope is to continue, meaning to bring on more tech scholars, but they work hard at finding partnerships to be able to fund the end of our scholars that's in the program. So right now the district, there's no cost to the district now, but as we move on. One other thing that I forgot to share is that the tech scholars also assisted with PARC. So when we got a mass, a large volume of laptops that had to be prepped for PARC testing last year, and I think we got like 600 devices. There were 700. They assisted our tech team with actually helping to image those machines and getting them out to the building. So, and Amber was one of the ones who took the lead on that. So she's one of our shining stars.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you for that. All right, we're gonna move on to iReady and the iReady challenge, and I'm gonna pass the.
All right, good morning, everybody, again. As I said before, my name is Lynn Price-Jones, and I am currently Senior Lead Educator of Math and Science, grades K to 8 for the district. As Tanya said, I've been in the district for many years, started as a substitute, was a classroom teacher, math coach, lead educator, and now senior lead educator. So in this position, one of the things that I love about this position is I get to see the growth that we've made in the district. So, for me, starting as a sub to this position, to this point, I can relate to what teachers are going through. Now being in the position where I get to make some decisions about literacy and math, about math and science, I have some things to fall back on because I've been there and I've done it. So, now I'll go back to iReady. So iReady, for those of you that don't know, is a program that we use in the district for grades K through 8. We use it in math and in literacy, so it's an online program. Our students take a diagnostic assessment. They take that assessment 3 times a year. Once they take the diagnostic, they have what we call a personal path. From that path, they have lessons that are assigned to them based on how they performed on a diagnostic. So no 2 students will have the exact same path. The path is going to be based on how they performed on that diagnostic. So once they take the diagnostic, they have a path, they log on to the computer, and they get to engage in lessons that are based on their needs. As a teacher, if the teacher feels as though there are maybe some other things that she's going over in the classroom and the kids need a little more help in something, the teacher also has the ability to go in the program and assign extra lessons to them. So we've been using iReady now for 3 years. This year we actually rolled it out to grades 6 through 8 in math. Prior to this year, they used a different program, but we felt as though it would be really a smoother transition for the students since they're going, from K to 5 and the 6 through 8. It was easier, so we decided to give iReady a chance really in grades 6 through 8, and so far so good. But what we did at the end of last school year, we decided, we had made such great gains in math and in literacy that we wanted to do something. So we reached out to iReady, like, what can we do? How can we, show our students, show our teachers that we really appreciate the hard work that they've done. So throughout the summer, our team with iReady really worked to come up with something that we can kind of show, we need to be able to show when our students are making improvement, when they're showing growth, so that they would continue to be engaged in the program. So we came up with the iReady Engagement Challenge. We just rolled it out, as a matter of fact, this week, rolled out Monday. And what we're gonna do is every week, the teachers are going to go in, they're gonna look at the reports, and students who have met the district requirements, which are 45 minutes a week for math, 45 minutes a week for literacy, and a 70% pass rate year to date from the lessons that they have been going forth and doing in the program. So if you go into the classrooms, you're gonna see in every classroom a bulletin board. And on the bulletin board, there are pockets for each child. There's a math pocket, or a pocket for math and for literacy. So they have a card, and if they have met the district requirement for the week, then what happens is the teacher will put her initial next to the time frame, put her initial next to the percent of pass rate, and students then, once that card is filled, the card gets turned into the lead educator lets us know, and we are planning to be able to have those students honored or highlighted at our board meetings. So we do that for a month, then at the end of the month, we will look at students at the board meeting, so we have dates, all of that is rolled out, like which board meetings we would like to have students honored. Every school has an opportunity to have students participate, and as I said, it's in grades K through 8 in math and literacy. So it's something that we wanted to do to be able to not just recognize the students here at the school level, but also recognize the students on the district level. Yes.
So, when you have let's say you have a child that is not too tech savvy or that great with, working on a computer versus in the classroom, or should I say, have you ever come across a teacher identifying that the path that iReady has created for the child is different from what they see, with the child during lessons that they've been teaching them in person?
So if that happens, one of the things that we have noticed is when students take the diagnostic, let's say I'm taking a diagnostic and, I'm like, I don't feel like doing this, so I'm just, clicking here and I'm clicking there. What will happen in that case is it's not gonna maybe match what the student is doing. So if I'm 4th grade, it may show something, a particular standard, that I perform like as a 2nd grade student. So then the work is going to be below my level. What the teacher can do then, as I was saying, is the teacher can go in and say, you know what, this isn't right. Like I see Lynn every day, I know that she can do this work. So the teacher can assign lessons that are closer to where that student is performing. But the other thing is, we have directed teachers to have a real conversation with the students prior to that diagnostic so that they understand, you know, this is the reason you're taking this. I'm not just saying go on and take another test. We talk about, you know, you're taking this diagnostic, number one, to see, you know, what it is that you do. Like, what do you know? What areas do I need to work on? Maybe something I need to go back, or maybe I need to push you forward. So it's really important that the students understand the purpose of taking that diagnostic. So we can have that conversation so that the path is an actual path that represents where you are as a student.
Okay. I just start to recognize frustrations with so many tests that they already have to take. When you have PARC, you have iReady, you have so many different things that they have to do, and it's just like, well, which one really matters the most is what for me and my children. I have 3 children taking part in it. That's really what it comes down to is iReady really gonna impact, you know, where I go to next, or should I just put my all into PARC, or every single test, so I have to like give my all. I think that's
so we try to, you know, one of the things, and this is me personally, when I was in the classroom, I think that it is extremely important to have that conversation with your students, because if you don't have that conversation, then they're feeling like, oh, he does another test. They don't know. So with iReady, the diagnostic is just one portion of it.
Okay.
So if the diagnostic isn't accurate, then the work that you get to do isn't going to be accurate. So why do you want to do work that is not accurate? You want to do work that's going to help you to grow as a student.
And meet PARC, you know, the skills that you need for PARC, so that's what, yeah.
So we try to, if you have that conversation with your students, then they start to see things as, okay, so this is going to help me get better here, so that when I come to PARC, I'm better prepared. I understand. It's not, you know, like, oh, I didn't feel like, and I just clicked, and I'm in the 5th grade, and it's showing, you know, 1st grade work. And why do I have 1st grade work? Because I could do this. So, you know, it's important to have those conversations so that students understand why we're doing the things we're doing. Not to frustrate you, not to give you more, but, you know, we're trying to think of ways to help you improve, to help you grow. And the other part of iReady is it's not just the diagnostic what the students do, it's also what the teachers do in small groups. So there is a huge component that teachers can go on, they can pull resources. So once I take that diagnostic, my students are grouped, I know where this group of students are, I know the things that I need to work on with them. And, you know, let's say it's something, oh, you know, I'm teaching 4th grade and this is saying it's a 3rd grade skill and I'm just not sure what to do. I can look, I can find a resource on that level that can help me help the students.
thank you.
One of our questions was about the student not being computer savvy, tech savvy. The teachers in the classroom do give them time to go into iReady, because I have 2 students in class and they do take that. The teachers take the time to teach them in their how to work the iReady. Then at home, I put them like not on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, they do iReady, and also on Saturday. If they can work a computer to play a game, a phone to play a game, whatever it is to play a game, you have, if they spend 6 hours playing the game, they have to give me 1 hour each of those days. Not every day of each of those days, doesn't have to be necessarily the 45 minutes. You can do more. If I see that, and they have to do it in front of me, I am watching. I'm not helping them, but if they get stuck with a question, with anything, I'm right there. I give my time to them at that time to see if they need help. If I have to look up something on my phone, usually I'm good with the phone, looking up stuff on the web. I look it up and I say, well, this is the definition to this. Now what can you do with this? You're having that math problem, we can sit down, work on that math problem. I have my time for you, and I don't let the other child interfere with me in my time with that child that's having difficulty. That doesn't mean that they are not gonna have difficulties, because if I leave them alone, this is what happens. When I left my son alone doing his thing, he went through the vacation time with it, playing around, he didn't do his work. But his teacher was vigilant enough to send me a message and saying, this is not working out, Matthew is doing this and this. And for that, I'd rather for him not to do it and come back and I help him. So I got on him. And I said, well, I have a message. message from the teacher, if you were doing this, now I'm gonna separate you desk, and you're gonna be real close to me while you give me that extra hour, now you gotta do 2 hours punch. Cause now it became a punch, for him playing around, but I wasn't gonna have him skip the time that he needed to do. But this is how we can help our kids. If you have 3, separate them their time, so you can dedicate that time to that child. We have some, they're more savvy than others, need more attention. So we had to identify on our kids who needs more attention. And this is how I help my kids. And any conversation that I need to have, I can always go to the teacher and let them know, hey, we have more problems with this subject that they're not understanding. We should be, the work that they do in school and the homework, well, I always say that homework is a reinforcement of what they learn during the day in school. So if my child comes home and is not understanding, I'm ready to write a note to that teacher. The child is not understanding this, I have to help them extra this time, and this is how we can communicate with that teacher. Because I respect the teacher, they're there all day with the kids. I mean, I can't be with my child all day long, I would go nuts. You know, so I have a lot of respect for them, but I'm a concerned parent.
And we
That's
look
what I have
forward,
to say about that.
we look forward to seeing your kids at the board meeting.
My children, I like to expose them to all kinds of things so they know how to respond in society. Because you hear kids, you just can't keep the kids away from, they have to learn, everything is a learning experience. Meetings are a learning experience. I will have them here if they didn't have school, I will have them, if they know, I'll take them anywhere.
Thank you.
It's Martha Wilson, you know that I'll take them everywhere. So,
Thank you for sharing.
I have a question.
Why is it on to the 8th grade?
So right now, that's where their program goes, but for high school, they do have, Think Through Math that they're using in high schools, yes, which is a program similar, yes. Yes. Yeah.
Hi. Now with the iReady challenge not having audio, what about for the students that are illiterate or cannot read for themselves? What
Okay.
happens in that scenario?
So
Read it to them or?
when you say they're illiterate,
Like, let's say the child is not 100% there on reading or speaking. How can they use this program to better their education?
so depending on the classroom that they're in, if there's a classroom where there's extra support in that classroom, then that extra support could be working with the student. If they're on iReady, and, you know, as I was saying, like, for instance, with the kindergarten students, they get support sometimes from their teacher or from their paraprofessional. So if it's in a classroom setting where there is another adult that's providing support, they can get, you know, that assistance with that support.
I had a parent over here, purple headband, black jacket, next to you. Yes,
Señora.
she had her hand up.
Señora,
You have a question? Keep it down, okay.
Alright, so, if you have any questions or any more questions about iReady, you can contact your classroom teacher, you can contact your lead educator or your school leader. You could also contact me. As I said, my name is Lynn Price Jones. My email is lpricejones, all one word, @camden.k12, you know, the rest. Or we can even set up, you know, meetings through your FOCs. I'm in and out of the schools, but this is something that I am extremely passionate about. As I said, you know, having been here, having been in the classroom, having done all of those things, I wish I would have had this program when I was in the classroom with my students. I really do. I think it's an excellent program, and through the students' use, the teachers' use, we have definitely made gains, and I continue to see us making more gains. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. It gets better.
I guess. Again, my name is Corinne Crina, and my fabulous teammates have been in the district, proudly been in the district. I started my teaching career at Cream School in the 90s, dating myself, but I have had many roles. Last year I was at Bryn Mawr Bars High School as a lead educator, and now I'm in central office, using my literacy background. I'm really excited about this current position that I'm in, for literacy and social studies. But it's been really exciting over the last several months to work with Lynn and Tanya. So Nelson Aguilar is the Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver. For those of you who do not know, we have a partnership with Nelson Aguilar and PDQ. PDQ is like a chain restaurant located near Wegmans. I know there's one near Wegmans. And then one in Sicklerville. And the reason of the Nelson and PDQ partnership, before I never met an NFL star until this year. Before Nelson became famous, he did work for PDQ. It was his first job. So they partnered together to give back to different communities and things like that. So just some background. This year, we want to build our reading muscles. I don't know if you heard what's going on. We have decided to use the iReady platform. So it's just another layer of incentive. Actually, Nelson was here at Dudley School. I know some other schools might be mad at me. I'm sorry, I can't always be a crowd pleaser, but we did have to choose a school where we could have the most population. And Nelson came here to kick off a pep rally, and he was so humble. Like I said, I've never met someone that famous, so I didn't know how he was going to be, but he signed everything. He signed people's shirts, he signed pieces of paper, he signed the little rubber chickens that we gave out from PDQ, and he really took his time to talk to every student, and he stayed a really long time and went above and beyond. I didn't know how it was going to turn out, but it was wonderful. And he talked about building reading muscles. So as Lynn said, this is just for our literacy component for iReady, 45 minutes a week. And that actually breaks down to 9 minutes a day. So for the first marking period, we had 3 levels of prizes. Here they are. So the schools, I had the spreadsheet. The schools gave me however many minutes. I don't know off the top of my head. Is it here? No, you know what? But I think it's 405 minutes or plus. They had a level 1 prize, which was a free meal from PDQ, and I gave them out from the students. And then we had level 2, which was free chicken tenders or chicken sandwich, and level 3 was with milkshake. Some schools had many students that completed the challenge, and others had fewer. And it was the first marking period. So this marking period was doing the same incentive. And as soon as I emailed Nelson and PDQ, they sent the prizes right out. And Lynn stayed, and we counted the tickets, and we got them out to the school. So the same things are gonna happen for this marking period. And then for the third marking period, we're gonna move away from usage, and then we're gonna give prizes out for how much reading growth. So now we're gonna say, okay, how much did the students grow in reading this year? So that's our partnership. We're really proud of this community outreach with Nelson Aguilar, Philadelphia's wide receiver, and PDQ. Any questions thus far about this?
Can they implement into their meeting players?
To bring more football?
Yeah, just the kids meeting the football players.
Oh,
Into the games here.
Oh, I know.
You know.
Well, I can always have a wish list, and I
It'll
will.
be a great prize, the first prize.
I like the way you think. I dream big myself, so I will give them my wish list. We'll see what happens, but I will
How
ask.
excited the kids will be and how much they're gonna read.
I know. I mean, I will bring it to their attention because anything he said to ask doesn't hurt to ask, right? So I will grant your wish. I promise. So anything else about the Aguilar partnership?
Nah.
I think I pretty much covered it. He is, and we didn't schedule this, but he is anticipated to do some surprise visits as the year goes on. So I'm going to reach out to him about that.
We have to keep him busy right now, though, right?
Yeah, we gotta
He needs to
make
stay
sure
busy right
that,
now, right?
you know,
Right, we have to go first.
I know we have, probably have a lot of Eagles fans down here. Pittsburgh, right?
You all right now?
We have a signing.
Yes, don't get me started, girl. That green,
I
baby.
just wanted to make sure I covered, that's about it. Okay, thank you so much for your time.
So once again, taking technology, and highlighting those different areas, it is important. Okay, so you've heard about TechServe, you've heard about iReady, Google accounts. Okay, so this year, our IT department, I worked with our IT department over the summer, and every classroom teacher, or I should say every staff member, received a Google account. Okay, not a Gmail account, but a Google account, which allows them to begin to explore what Google has to offer in education in a classroom setting. Some of them have been very excited, reaching out, wanting to take it to the next step with their students. But this year is a year of us getting our teachers, comfortable with just using it, because it's so important for the teachers to understand it first before we move in with the kids, because the kids will just run right with it, okay? And then two, how do you use it instructionally, which is, in a way in which it's sound, that it's standards aligned, and that it is meaningful, and that when the kids walk out of our 12th grade classrooms, or even going from 8th to 12th, that they are ready to, to take the next step, okay? Because that is important. If you go out into the real world now, there's so much what we would call cloud-based computing, where everything is out there in a cloud, and you just need to know where to go and how to get to it, especially when you get, to the college level. Nowadays, you can't do anything. Most applications are done on a computer, and so forth, and so this is important to us. At the end of the year, we will get some feedback from teachers to see where do we go with it, next steps, okay? I also share that to say that our tech serves this year on February 1st, we have our full day of professional development for teachers. And so during that day, we have tech serves, about approximately 12 or so of them that will be coming over, and they will be instructing teachers on how to use Google. Okay, so I'm excited about that, to create their partnership, a good resource, and especially, professional development sometimes can get costly, especially when you're trying to customize it, and to have somebody on the spot to come out. A lot of times professional development is a webinar. Okay, they might come out once to set you up, but then after that it's a webinar. That if they do come out, you're going to be paying for the visit, the hotel, and the airfare to come in. So just to share with you, we're excited about our tech service doing that. Okay. Yes.
Is that for staff only, or is it open to the public?
Well, this right here. Well, right now it is for staff. Now we do. Okay, we do have another resource, and I just have to see if it's still active. Where students, because we right now still have a Microsoft account, and I shared that last year. Students have access to what's called an Office 365 account. Okay, and with that, with the student's ID number and then their password, they can go online and access Office 365 and should still be able to download like a version of Office for free up to, on 5 different devices, 5 desktops or laptops, and 5 mobile devices. Okay, so that's right now, since we have Microsoft in the district. Okay, next year I don't know, maybe we'll go all Google, which I'm excited about, but we'll see. But right now, yes. Okay.
The other piece of that would be, if we were functioning as we would be as a parent group, we would have an office space set up where we would also have the computers so that you could learn how to do technology. Ms. Wilson has worked with us before in the past through the technology department. So for those of you who have been here for a while, we've had parental involvement, and we also work with technology and communication. And we worked as a team, as one unit. And that is what helped us to move and get our parents, give them the knowledge that they need to be able to help their students. Our centers were torn down behind Pine Point. So at this point, I'm still working at the administrative level to get us a unit, get us somewhere where we can go, call home, because through our Title I dollars, you're entitled to that. Title I dollars comes into the district, therefore we should have space for parents to come in to learn on a daily basis. It used to be district parent coordinators. Now we have FOC, so the titles have changed and so have the responsibilities. But the responsibility of giving our parents the information that they need to advocate on behalf of their children still stands. So from a district level, the board is now putting our committees back in place. And then, once we start that, then we should be able to see the changes being put in place for you, hopefully before the end of the school year, and if not, definitely by the time next school year starts.
What about them empty buildings? The school district has like 2 empty buildings that
We've already, we're working on that. John Square is a place where we used to have a parent center at one point, but it wasn't handicap accessible, and every building that you have has to have it. So we are working at that level.
And I wanna go back, your question was, does everybody have access? Google and Education is for the, education world, but you can create a Google account.
No, that's not what,
Okay.
my question was like, you see how we come here just to join the Dpac? Parents can go when you guys are
Oh, for
doing your training,
training.
they can join.
Oh, okay, all right, well, I'll keep that in mind because we have tech serves and they would be definitely interested in sharing their knowledge, so, yeah. And then you can bring your kid with you too. All right, yes, thank you for that, sorry.
Hold on a second, so what Ms. Wilson was saying, that with the parent groups that we have, we provide those trainings, but we are working on getting a place, a home, where we can have the computer set up, we can go there, parents can go there, someone's always there available to help the parents and move along. Whatever help they need, even if it's technology, any other training that they need is provided in those areas.
So the parent center that has been developed and put in place, when we were down on Front Street, it was in the front offices. It's now that we're in the Washington School Building, it's still on the first floor. And we have Ms. Carmen Stokes with us today, who works out of that office. Ms. Stokes, has reached out to me to let me know that, she's going to be working with the bilingual group to help get things put in place. Because the reality is we have the District Parent Advisory Council, which is Dpac, but then we have the bilingual group, and they're also a part of Dpac as well as special needs. But what happened, as you see today, like Mr. Ramos is translating, and we appreciate that. Because at a Dpac meeting, we should all come together, no matter what group you're a part of, that's your umbrella. But when you move into the area of bilingual, then we have equipment that will help to translate so that you're able to utilize that at your will as well. So the things, we know what needs to be done. It's just a matter of getting those things put back in place under the new administration. So we've never turned our heads or our minds on what you want or what you need. It's about getting it set up now through the new administration and having a place for you to be instrumental for your input. But remember, the Dpac meeting comes together once a month, so you can get information here that really should go back into your school. But at this point, I'm going to begin to do a survey as well, starting January. We need to know what's going on in your schools at your level. At your individual schools, you should be having programs. We need to know what that is. We need to know what the subject matter is. We need to know how you're spending your funding from Title I in your schools. There's account numbers that pertains to funding that should help you get the things that you need for you and for your children. So starting January, those things will begin to come out. So it's important for us. Yeah, I know. This is our first meeting for this year. But what will happen is, there's meetings that should take place among the leadership of each one of those councils. So we have them on the calendar. It's about getting everybody back together and us moving forward. So what you're asking for, that's something that used to automatically happen. This is one of the best programs that has been illustrated to you today that we have in the school district. And I'm telling you, Ms. Wilson and her team, they're second to none.
Yep.
We would put them, exactly, we would put them up against anyone across the street on what they do, the work that they do on behalf of their children.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. I can really see it coding with parents. We gotta write that down.
Amber.
All right, so, our special area teachers, I'm supporting them, as you all know. And so we introduced QR codes to special area teachers. And I had a lot of different ideas about this. Anybody ever seen these QR codes before? Yeah. Okay. Anybody have I see phones coming out already. So, in the event that you have an iPhone, okay, and I didn't know this until I was doing the training with teachers, some of my teachers that he came across. So, with the iPhone, and if you open up your camera, and if I were to just focus on the QR code, whatever is that QR code represents would automatically pop up as a notification on my phone. That's with the iPhone, okay? With a Android, of course you would have to have a QR app. Good, so you have yours. So, what's your name? Mario, Mr. Mario. He scanned, this is a nice size too. Oh my goodness, all right, so as he scanned, he automatically received a video, okay? And the video that that's actually there is a video of Dash and Dot. Okay, now you're probably wondering who is Dash and Dot, but anyway, Dash and Dot are robots, and these robots are used as a way of teaching students how to code, okay? So at Forest Hill, there's a computer teacher there, and she had a chance to go within Donors Choose, put in an application or a proposal to receive Dash and Dot, and she shared how she would use it in her classroom setting, and they received Dash and Dot. And so the kids, when I went over to visit, she was introducing Dash and Dot for the first time to a second grade class. And so watching the students excited about, how Dash and Dot worked and so forth, it was just rewarding. What I will do is, and I forgot to actually put the video up here, so I will place the video up here shortly so you can see it. But I just want to share with you that QR codes, you're going to see those a lot, especially when you come to the district office. And why do I say that? Because it is important for, of course, our reading, our math, our social studies and science, but then too our special area teachers to be able to share and be able to display what's going on in their world. They do a lot of things and they hit different interests for our students, the musician in our students, the artistic skills that are there, as well as fitness. We have a lot of youth that are in the fitness. I try to be in the fitness anyway. But in the fitness to a certain degree, and it's important because we have to be able to be healthy so we can live longer, right? And so in the district office, what I decided to do was begin to focus on those things. So as soon as you come in, you're going to see this hour of code. So on December the 3rd through the 7th, that week, we had an hour of code throughout the district, K through 12. And during that time, kids got exposed to coding. So they may have taken advantage of code.org that Amber shared, or Scratch, or Dash and Dot, and figuring out how to make those robots move. Some of them had a chance to work with virtual environments where they wore the virtual reality glasses, and they got a chance to see what goes on within those applications. Okay, and some of them even got a chance to participate with some 3D printing. Okay, and I say that to say that it's amazing when you go through and you visit from lab to lab. And here at Dudley, they did a what they called a code blast. So the students had to. This is Dash and Dot. I'm sorry. And so this is the principal here. A young lady is actually showing her how to code to make the robot move. And then over here you see the second grade class, and this is Miss Young over there, and she's introducing them. So on one side of the room, and Forest Hill is unique because they have kind of like two classrooms right next to each other. So one side is her computer lab, and so nobody else was over there, so she said, oh, I'd like to make that my STEM room. And she just went on and took it upon herself to begin to create that space. And so this is the space right now that she's using. And so these are the students that are programming Dash and Dot to move, okay? Here at Dudley, this was an 8th grade class, and they right now, in these images, they are trying to create or make these images move and dance a certain way by using code, the language to code and make them move, okay? So every school had a different focus, and I kept it open because I felt as though for our computer teachers 2 years ago, they were like so nervous about this coding thing, and I was like, you don't need to be nervous. What we need to do is, as facilitators, we have to begin to show our kids how to think. Because that's what computer science is thinking and thinking logically from how do I go from this point to that point. And that all deals with math, that all deals with writing when you think about it. So there's a lot of things that are, like tied in there, or they kind of like interact together that make it work. And the best part is when you see a kid and they're not sure, they get up from the computer and they go and move their bodies a certain way to understand what they're actually doing to go back to write that code. It is powerful when you get to that point. And so they engage in, I'm not sure if Amber mentioned it, but like a lot of unplug. Unplug is they're not at the computer yet. I just need to know if I had to give Mr. Barfield directions on how to get up here and he had to listen only to my directions, how do I tell him which way to turn, how many steps to take, which way to go around this way, or whatever the case is. So those things are important to our kids, and so it's really good. So this happens K through 12. We will be doing it again on our Digital Literacy Day, which is sometime in, I believe it's March.
That doesn't have anything to do with what they're doing in Pine Point, right? I think over there they're building robots.
They could be. We also have robotics in our buildings. So at Caddo School, we have robotics that goes on. Green School, there's robotics, and there's 2 other locations in which there's robotics that go
Came
on.
out in the newspaper the other day about I think Monday that they were doing some robots.
Yeah, so it's the same idea. Yeah, thank you. All right, one other thing I want to share with you is school-based youth services, another form of technology. So with school-based youth services, and I'm not sure if any of you may know Miss Avitri. So Miss Avitri does a lot, and they're in several different buildings. So we wrote a grant 3 years ago, and within the grant, one of the things reapplying for the grant that was added was how would you use technology with a focus on literacy? And so we got together, I brainstormed, and I was sharing some things with her, but one of the programs that I was exposed to prior to actually applying for the grant was a program called Light Cell. And so after writing the grant and so forth, we actually received the grant. And so with Light Cell is a program that's at Coopers Point, Sharp, and Wiggins School right now. And it is for 8th graders, and right now they have given us access to Light Cell, K through 8th grade. But right now we're focusing on 8th. But the idea is for kids to be able to be exposed to independent reading, okay? So this is independent reading at my level. So what happens is they can either go on a computer or iPad. Before it was only iPad based, but now it is a computer. And they go on, and once again, the computer has to kind of like figure out where you're at. So they go on, they give them a set of questions. From that point, they say, hey, Tanya's at a level 6 or whatever the case is. And so then I get a library of books at my level that I can read at that point in time, that I can read on my own. Throughout the course of me reading this text, it might say, hey Tanya, what does this word mean? That's within the text. It may also say as I'm going through, hey Tanya, where's the setting at different points? So throughout the text, intermittently, it will ask the students different questions to begin to check their understanding and also to their skill level, okay? Yeah, what's also nice about it is kids can read books at their level, and then they have so many that they can read above or below their level, okay? Informational text, fiction, so forth, but it's all there for students to do. And then we, through the grant as well, Ms. Dimitri has purchased additional books that can be used that might go along with our curriculum. So that if teachers, besides I'm reading all independently on my level, but then Corinne, Tanya, and Lynn want to read a book together because now we're doing a book, having a book club or whatever, a literature circle, then we can read a book together and the teacher can pose questions. Yes.
I have a question. It might be related to that, it might not. I have a child, always put my children, the experience of my children. She likes to write books. She's gonna be 10 now, okay, 4th grade. She's really into it, she reads, she writes stories. How can do you have a program that is gonna help a child like that? To learn how to write books, how can we is there a program to help children that are inclined to do those things, like be a writer?
In the literacy block, there's times for students to write. I mean, so if someone's more advanced, the teacher can encourage them. Maybe in each school, there's not a particular, I hear what you're saying, there's nothing particular like that, but there is time daily for students to write.
That's not enough for a child like what I'm talking about. I'm talking about more of a program for children that are inclined.
For technology then, technology based.
Yeah, some kind of
Yeah.
knowledge.
So-
For children that are inclined in writing, to
Right.
push them to that level, challenge them to the next level
Right.
of writing, like.
So, yeah, I would encourage them to what's called digital literacy, digital storytelling, okay? So I'm a writer, I write all the time. But then, you can take it to the next level where after I write, I then put it into what's called digital storytelling. So there's different applications that you could do that with, whereas you could just have a picture that's showing, and then the child is just narrating, a story all based on the picture.
She does both.
Okay.
She draws.
Okay.
And she writes.
Right, so it could be that also too, if not that, then, there's something called VoiceThread.
Okay.
So take a look at VoiceThread, for education, it is free, and that's one way of being able to have her begin to narrate some of her stories. Also too, you could probably use, if you have an iPad, you could probably also use iMovie. With iMovie, the same thing, you have pictures, and or if you have a video, they can narrate exactly what's going on. She could even create like a video and then do the entire narration after she writes the story on her own, and then she can actually share that way.
That's where you need a teacher or a program to be training the children that are inclined, that's what.
So
I'm
they
asking.
do digital storytelling is part of our curriculum for computer literacy class. So that is something that is done, okay? The kids have exposure to. But it depends on the grade level in regards to in a classroom setting
Yeah.
that takes place. Yeah, but on her own too, that is something that I would encourage her to do
She
because
has books,
if she,
the books that
yeah.
she draws and writes, the notebooks and everything.
And after this, I'll share some apps with you.
Okay, good, thank you.
Alright, so Light Cell is there, I just wanna share that with you, we're trying to encourage 35 minutes of reading, and this is just to build their own independent reading level up. We're very excited about it, we can't wait to see, how well the kids do, and the bottom line is just for this, is to make sure that kids improve. There's some improvement that goes on with this, okay? So look to see that. STEAM Fair. Anybody get a chance to come to the STEAM Fair last year?
No, I learned
Okay.
about it late, but.
Alright, it's okay, but you'll learn about it early now. So, June the 7th,
for it.
June the 7th,
Mark your calendar.
mark your calendar, write it
My
down.
birthday, so I'll be.
Good, you can celebrate, bring some cake. So, on June the 7th, we're gonna have our second STEAM fair. I don't know how many of you had a chance to come last year, but we worked as a team, myself, Lynn Price Jones, and Janelle Williams, and we were just working and getting to that point, and we never realized, and I'm not bragging, but how well we did. I mean, it just surprised us after everything came together, and it was just not us, because we met with communications about it, we met with different teams, and I mean, to put it all together and to make sure that from the top all the way down to the student that walked across the threshold, that it went well for everybody, it was a good feeling afterwards. We were tired. We were tired. We didn't leave the school for preparation the day before until we almost got home like 10 o'clock that night, to make sure that everything was right the day before, but it was an exciting experience. The theme was STEAM in my life. This year it is still STEAM in my life, but with water. With water this time, okay? Yes.
Time and location.
Time and location. So the location right now is being determined because we are in partnership with a couple of different groups that really want to say, well, come on out the district. We're going to open up this space for you, but we're waiting. We're taking a look at our options right now, so we can't say that. But it will take place, and I'll say starting time will probably be like 8:30, 9 o'clock. Okay, and it'll be all day, probably till at least 8 in the morning. Yeah.
How would we know what we would have to look at to find out when the exact place is going to take place?
Oh, we're gonna let you know. We're letting you know now preliminary that it's gonna be taking place. We're gonna let Ms. Henson know. Ms. Wilson will definitely know. And then we will push the information out to all of the individuals,
And who's
okay?
gonna participate?
Last year, it was the middle school through, well, I'm sorry, we had second grade through 12, and it'll probably be the same this year, no
What
different.
schools, all the schools in the
All schools
district?
are always, all schools. It was open last year to all schools. Once again, we talked about the tech serves helping to plan. You're seeing right now our second through fifth, these are just a couple of pictures. But we just wanna let you know, right now, they're in the process of coming up with their questions, which they should already have. Also, too, creating a prototype. Ms. Price Jones, you wanna share anything about this?
So, as Ms. Wilson said, last year we had, grades 6 through 8. So with the STEAM fair, if you don't know, every letter in STEAM stands for something different. So science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. So for students in grades 2 through 5, they pretty much concentrated on the T, which was technology. For students in grades 6 through 12, they basically had a little bit of everything with the other letters. And we had the students come, last year was at Canva Creative Arts, we had it there, and students were able to come and bring their projects. So every individual school had a STEAM fair, they selected winners, from those winners, they went to the district STEAM fair. And it was the first time that we ever, had a STEAM fair, and just thinking of Tanya, Janelle, and I, 3 people with your own, ideas and headstrong in your own ways, and it was a great example of working together as a team. But it was an excellent opportunity. The kids just were magnificent. We had the Courier Post come. We had partners with Subaru, Haltech, Sixers. Oh my gosh, just everybody. American Water Company. People were just amazed. The students were Haltech. The students were so well prepared and well spoken and just proud of the work they had done, and they just represented themselves and their schools just so wonderfully. And not that we would expect anything different, but just for people to get an idea and to be able to see this is what we do, regardless of what you think or hear, our students are wonderful. They just showed it that day. It was just the best. It was perfect. It was in June, so it was a culminating activity, and it was just wonderful. Just really made your heart just filled with joy, just seeing all of the things that our students have done, and to just be able to show yep, that's what we did.
And so, can I piggyback real quick? So I had the pleasure of attending and filming and taking pictures. It was what they're saying is it was great. It was that great. So if you want to see it, it's on YouTube because we recorded it. But also shout out to Davis because they took home pretty much all the trophies that day. But yeah, so it was the students, and we interviewed some of the students presenting their projects. It was amazing. It was a great fair. You guys did an amazing job. So if y'all want to see it, just go on our CCSD-TV YouTube, and the video's there. So yeah.
Thank you.
We started earlier this year to get our students prepared, have our teachers working with our students. We actually introduced Tuesday at our PLC for middle school and high school math and science teachers, the Coriel Institute's science fair. We've had teachers in the past who have participated. Most of those teachers have been on the high school level, but it's actually opened up to teachers, middle school, and so we may have students that are represented there as well.
Thank you. All right, so and just to piggyback on that as well, we want to make sure that the art and the music teachers and the physics teachers know that they play an intricate part in that too. So whatever way they can help to support either the classroom teacher or students, to please make themselves available during that time frame. All right, last but not least, remember I said I do a lot of different areas. So one of the things that I'm working with the teachers, I said, we need to make sure that everybody knows what you do. So at central office, I began what was called and our central office was like a blank slate, meaning that nothing more. It was nothing on the walls or whatever. And so everything was basically, white or whatever. So I touched base with our teachers, and we're in a process of identifying 3 to 5 schools every 2 months that will provide us with art collections. okay? So that we can share those things at central office and they can get a chance to see, because a lot of people come in and out of the building, not only the staff members there, but see what type of art is going on. So right now, what you see here would be art from Caddo School. Mr. William Aggie is the instructor there. And so not only did Mr. Aggie give me art and he matted it, whatever, and identified the students, and this is right now in our conference room on the second floor, but he also recalled the training that we did on QR codes, where I showed him how to create a QR code, and he created a QR code so that when you go up to it, you can scan it and you can learn about the artist. So that was what I wanted them to do, so that was good. We also have art here, and I believe this is a combination of different schools, so you'll probably see this sitting right behind Officer Watkins when you first walk in, okay? Oh, I'm sorry, go back. So that's spotlighting some art. We also have art that was provided by Creative Art School, Mr. Brian McAndrews, and his art, this is by Keith. I can't make out the last one, I think another slide, yes. But very interesting, and each one of these pieces almost tells a story, and it kind of like ties in with some of the social issues that go on. So this is one. There it is, keep hearing. And so we created a QR code so you could learn about the art, what type of art this is that the kids produce. And each one of them, as Lynn was helping me put it up, in Corinne, we're looking at it and we're trying to, trying to get an idea, what does this actually say to me? So they became conversation pieces. At Central Office, they had a time where they invited the community to come in, right there in the vicinity, to come in to welcome them as a reception and welcome them, them into our buildings. And so we placed some of this art in the room, so it became a conversation piece during that time as well.
We're going to give you the Obama one.
The Obama?
The Obama picture they have at Creative Arts.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love it. Yes, I love it. They're gonna let me take it out of here. Trust me, people start asking about this, is it for sale? I said, no, it's not for sale. I have to give this back. And then this is another one. You can see it's just a lot going on. This is just, this is actually from Camden Pride. So this is the art from the students there that was offered by Ms. Na. And it's just a variation. This picture right here, I had put it up in the front at first, and someone walked in as I was putting it up, and I turned my back and was like, oh my goodness, and so I'm turning around trying to figure out what's going on, and they were excited because they identified the student and knew exactly who the student was, and they had the student and could not believe the progress that child had made from the point that they let, I guess elementary level up until this point. And so I was like, oh wow, I was just excited to hear that. And then this is art from Dudley School right here, Miss Barbara Gale. Yeah. Okay. And so that is it, but I invite you to come in every 2 months. We will be changing the art, but the one thing is looking at the QR codes, because what we're trying to do is not only show art, but we're trying to show things that go on with phys ed, those QR codes, so when you walk up, you can just scan and say, hey, they're doing this in phys ed at Camden High or wherever it is, and also too with music. I don't know how many of you have seen the Trumpet Girls, but the Trumpet Girls are really exciting. I was excited finally to see the Trumpet Girls myself, so a lot of things that are going on in our buildings, we want to make sure that we share it. At this point, yes.
I always have a funny question. It's
Uh-huh.
not funny. Can the barcodes of the art and all these other pieces that you have be put in the website so we can scan it and at the same time get the information?
I'm so glad she missed me today. So I don't even have to meet with her now.
Yes, they can, Miss Maria.
They can, and we're doing that. It's just trying to put it all together.
For us to just,
That's fine.
not everybody can go to central office, take the time because they're working, they can go into the website, scan and say, oh, this is going on.
Yeah, no problem. Yes, we will be doing that. Thank you. Thanks. All right, at this time, I really do want to thank our team. Wants to thank everybody for having us. We've enjoyed ourselves. I'm here for questions later on if you need to ask any questions.
I don't have any questions. I have an announcement to make. My name is Ms. Anderson Coles. I'm the Family Operations Coordinator from Camden High School, along with our new Family Operations Coordinator, Ms. Sabria Wynn. We're having a mother-daughter empowerment tea on the 25th at Camden High School for our young ladies, and I've invited other schools like the middle schools and the high schools to join us, so all are welcome. you would like to join us, we're sending out invitations to, you guys at the central office as well. You're more than welcome to attend. It's gonna be nice just trying to, teach our young ladies self-worth, self-love, self-care, you know, all of those things, so they can be, productive and positive and be able to play it forward, once they become older females in the community.
Thank you for that announcement. This time, I would just like to say thank you once again to Ms. Tanya Wilson and her entire team. And you can see the work that they do in this district and how important and instrumental it is for our students. Our students now have to learn how to do critical thinking, and the programs that they're providing will help them to do that. It's no longer just reading the book, reading the story, and scanning through it. They now have to be able to read it, understand it, explain it, and when the tests come, pick the right answer for them to move through. So what they're doing is crucial for us. I would like to thank Ms. Carmen Stokes, who is here with us today. Like I said, we will be working together on some things to make sure that the bilingual piece is being put in place as it should be, working with Ms. Sharma. And Mr. Barfield works with the special needs students, so we're still working in that area as well. So as you can see, it has to be a team. It's no one eye and no little U's. It's all about all of us working together as a team. I would like to have our FOC to just stand up and give your name, and thank you for hosting our meeting today.
I'm the new FOC from Dudley. I'm so glad that I have a good number today. I'm so happy. I apologize because I expected you in the library, but I have some another inconvenience because they have another workshop on the junior achievement. But thank you for coming. And I have my office here, the Center for the Parents, and maybe the school that they don't have one, I have available for some time that they need it. You ask me in advance and you can use it for the meeting for the parents. Muy buenos días, mi nombre es Victoria González, yo soy la nueva coordinadora de aquí de Loli. También estoy aprendiendo junto aquí también con muchos papás también. Este es el centro que nosotros estamos utilizando aquí para las reuniones con los papás. Yo sé que hay algunas escuelas que todavía pues no tienen el centro disponible para algunos trabajos, con los estudiantes. En cualquier momento que quieran utilizarlo me pueden avisar a mí, yo hago los contactos con Mr. Colón y está disponible aquí para todos ustedes. Pido mi disculpa porque pensábamos hacer la reunión en la biblioteca. Subiremos otra reunión hoy de Junior Achievement, un programa que tenemos para los estudiantes que es gratuito todos los años. Hasta el momento llevamos como 4 o 5 años que están viniendo, pero la próxima vez esperamos tener un espacio grande y gracias por estar aquí con nosotros.
I also would like to thank Ms. Ebony Henson. She works in the support group. So the reality is that for us as a Dpac, we should have the ability to have technical assistance for the programs that we want to put together. So we need to have people, especially since we don't have our own parent center and computers now. Ms. Ebony Henson, we give her the information, she makes the contact, where before I would have to make the contact with the staff person to get it done. Ms. Henson helps us to get that done. Robocalls are to go out, flyers are to go out, and that information is crucial, and it has to be done in a timely manner. So right now, I would say to you, thank you, Ms. Henson, for the work that you and Joy do in your office, because without them doing the technical assistance that we have, once again, it makes it very hard. So I can see the beginning of us moving in the right direction. The FOCs, you're doing wonderful jobs working with your parents. I hear that through the district, I also know that. So once again, as I said, it's time for us to come together because you'll hear questions about what's going on with the Title I, Title II, Title III funding. The district has to be open, transparent, and show accountability. So with that, the questions will be asked, and I've had a meeting with, Ms. Katrina McCombs and with, Ms. Wales. So the reality is we're now putting it all back together, and you're gonna be a part of that team as it takes place, because you're the instrumental part. You're the parent for your children. Without your children, they wouldn't need jobs in the district. The team is going to be, the board members have different committees that we will work with our administration and our staff and support services. The team, this is all part of our parental involvement piece with the Dpac. But as a board member, I have to be responsible with working with the administration and making sure that the money that should be going in the areas with the schools, how the money's being spent, all those things, you gotta have transparency. So we have to make sure that is happening. So FOCs know that, when we always try to let you know ahead of time, they're not threats. They're about making sure your documentation is in order, because we still have to deal with QSAT. And QSAT is going to make the difference on if we can get our, we run the election for our community to be able to vote again. But we also have to make sure that we move forward responsibly and get the percentages that we need in all 5 categories. Right now, we have it, we're being told we have it in 3. So that means they could either give us partial control in those areas or just hold out. But the point is we wanna make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do.
One question
That's
is,
important. Yes, John.
since we're talking about election, when do you think the Dpac is going to have their election?
Well, the reality is that we have to deal with the bylaws, bring that up to date with what ESSA is. And once that is up to date, then we'll be able to put, that book will be put together. And then we'll be able to host all of those, which probably at this point may not be until October.
Because I'm holding mine in May, and, I'm using the same bottle that I had before for now.
But-
Because the pack needs to stay together, we need to provide this training to the parents, otherwise everybody's gonna scatter again.
I
and
agree
that's
with
a
that.
concern.
I agree with that, but the issue is that you have to make sure that your bylaws is up to date with what ESTA says on the state and federal level. So that's why you haven't heard a lot more about the elections yet. Those things have to take place. The parents need to know what it is, and that has to be done first. So,
We'll have to have a meeting separately.
that's exactly right, that's what I was gonna say, because at this point, I know that's one of the reasons that Ms. Stokes is reaching out to me to be able to help with the bilingual piece, to put those things together. But we can't put the cart before the horse, because then once again, we're going backwards. Exactly. Mr. Barfield.
And even for clarity too, Ms. Wilson, like you're saying, we don't even have our district level, parental involvement policy in place. So it starts with the district putting the structure in place, and then as you're saying, with the committees, everything is filtered down to do those things where the parent groups are functioning under district-led policies and regulations.
Exactly.
It's a process, so it's not like that, it's this district level staffing, you know, not, trying to put nobody out there, but it starts from the top and it works its way down. And those are the kind of conversations that we've been having. We can only do with so much because everything has started and starts with first, like we're saying, the federal policy. Now we have the state plan, and then the district has to implement those state regulations within, and then that's when the other groups will know what is the directives of those individual areas on top of us. So just to bring clarity to that and questioning why things are taking so long, because we know this is really the first year that the state and the schools have had to implement the new federal law, educational laws and standards. So everybody is going through a transition, the federal, the state, and your local school districts throughout the state of New Jersey and across the country.
Absolutely. So that's the reason why, when you deal with policy, when you come to the local level, policy has to be put in place by the Board of Education.
Thank you.
So understand what I'm saying to you. When I say to you that we are now, we have met with Ms. McCombs and committee structure has now been put back in place. We will now find out who's leading which committees, and then we will open the process up for us moving forward. But you can't do those things until everything is in order. So, it comes from the national, comes from the state, it comes into us locally. And so, as you know, another thing that we've had, it's been hard to have a 9-member board. You really should have a 9-member board because that's what the statute calls for. And so if we haven't been able to pull enough people together on a normal level just to have a quorum, that's an issue. So I've talked to the mayor about that. And the reason I spoke to the mayor is because the mayor makes the appointments to who's on the Board of Education. So I can speak, I can put it out there, but then we have to make the difference between all of them. I can't be a single voice, but there should be a 9-member board. So the time will come, but I may say, I need you at the podium, at a board meeting, to understand, in order for us to continue moving forward for our children, I may need the parent support because that's the area that I deal with for the most part. Parental involvement is how I came on this board. Parental involvement is what will continue to keep me on this board, along with all the other things that take place in this district. But that is first and foremost. And when I say to you, the Title I dollars are the largest dollars in the district, you have to know what that means to you and your children. Yes, Carmen?
Can I introduce Jill? So,
Jill.
so. Hi,
Hi, come on up.
Jill Trainer.
I know, come up.
Yes.
Ms. Trainer is over the special needs.
Five services, special needs. And bilingual.
Okay, and so.
Hi,
you can
everybody.
speak to them.
Hi, I'm Jill Trainer. I'm the Chief School Support Officer for Special Services, which means I oversee special education, health services, and the bilingual department.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
The department, is it Title III or Title IV?
Bilingual department, our funds are Title III.
Title III.
Yes.
Exactly.
Any other questions for me?
Well, since that was pointed out, what you need to know, Title I funding is for our students who need additional help in the classroom. And that in that classroom, there's normally more than one teacher there to help the child to get the services they need. And it's there to help the parents to become educated as well. And you get training. And those are things that we have to put back in place because you're entitled not to just stay here listening to what we're saying. There are conferences that take place that you're entitled to be a part of. Title II is for the training for our staff, for those who are involved with your children in the classroom and teaching them. Title III is with the special needs.
It's bilingual.
Bilingual, I'm sorry, bilingual.
Special ed is IDA funding.
Right. No, you should know, do you have anything else you would like to say? Because we shouldn't have been talking with you. You should be able to just.
We do have some meetings coming up. We will be with SPAN, so we have some support coming in with us, with Mr. Barfield for our special education group. We were supposed to actually meet tonight and SPAN was supposed to come out to the district parent roundtable. Unfortunately, that got canceled. It's being rescheduled towards the end of the month. So there's a new flyer coming out. And then our special education parent group is 28th. 28th, thank you, at Caddo School. And SPAN will also be there helping get us back up and running, making sure that we have the parents that are actually running the group. I'm just there to help facilitate anything that you guys need. Okay? Okay.
Thank you so much for being here with us, I appreciate that. Ms. Stokes, is there anything you would like to say?
No, I'm good.
At this time, I would like to say thank you to each and every one of you who came out. Amber, I appreciate the fact that once you completed your education, you came back and you're giving back. That's what we need more of. At this point, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you, and we look forward to seeing you at our February meeting. Thank you. Look for the robocalls or flyers to come out to tell you where and what the subject is. Thank you.